Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.
Hey, welcome to the show.
One more down, you strike.
Let's listen to a little bit of my friends in the band Forge before we get to talking to Ted Davis, world-renowned photographer, in the first part of Rick Show on the Radio on SoFloRadio.com.
Scream and no one knows. Two more down, off they went like a red rose on a picket fence. Doesn't care if you have or not, it won't take away what you haven't got. And the blood is red, we're gonna take it over. And the body is heavy, so we're gonna take it down to the river, cold water, wash away our sin again. The same to you in time, one more down.
All right. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. Rick Show on the Radio on SoFloRadio.com. And I'm speaking today with Ted Davis, photographer. How you doing, Ted?
Good. How you doing?
All right, man. We got a camera there, so you can wave hi to your mom if you want.
Hey, guys.
Your mom's a guy? I don't know.
Saying hey to everybody.
I spoke to your mom earlier today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. She sounds like a nice lady.
She is. Very nice woman.
Great. Well, I'm glad to have you on the show, Ted. Welcome. I tell the story of how we met. I was down with my new bride, Caroline, and walking down Las Olas Boulevard during the Las Olas Art Fair. And I came across you and your booth and your fantastic art here. If anybody, if you're in front of your computer and listening to the show, I would say if you can go to Ted Davis Fine Art Photography and take a look at some of this great work here while we're talking, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Ted Davis's work. He goes around the world to get these shots, and we're going to talk about the process of how he gets the shots and a lot of good technical stuff about photography that I'm interested in.
Yeah, a lot of good details.
Yeah. But first, Ted, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about, where you're from and some personal history about it.
Sure. So I grew up in New York. Family moved to Maine when I was pretty young, about 13. After that, the normal high school, college, grad school. I actually went to law school in Washington, D.C. to be an attorney. I came out and moved to New York City to be, the big city attorney that, you see in TV shows, movies, and all that.
Like fun.
Oh, yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah.
But, I moved there, and my folks actually bought me a camera to take pictures of the city, kind of make memories and that kind of thing, and over time, within a year, really, it took over. And what happened was, I started traveling for work and going places, and I'd bring my camera along. One thing turned into another, and last April, 2 Aprils ago, actually, I was sitting there in Zion National Park, shooting big format shots and loving it. And so it's been a wild ride since then.
That's interesting. So it's kind of inspirational if you think about it. So you were already past college and into your career, and your parents said, here's a camera, just take some pictures of the city while you're at it. And just that gesture, that little thing changed your life, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it really, at the same time, my parents also got my sister, who's a little bit older than me. They got her the same exact camera as well. And, she is also an attorney. Don't get in arguments with the women in my family. It will not turn out well for you.
Would you say they're litigious?
Yes.
Okay.
They are good arguers. So we both got cameras at the same time, and it's really crazy how my path took me towards photography, and hers, she still has the same camera and she uses it, and she takes pictures out with her fiance and the dogs and this and that. So
family type stuff.
Family stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So when did you make this transition or realize that, I mean, everybody can get a camera and everybody can take pictures, but there's something that separates somebody that is a photographer, especially a fine art photographer as yourself. When did you realize that you had an eye for this thing?
It was really, I didn't know I had an eye. I had to be told I had an eye for it. I thought my photography was good, but I was comparing my photos to, the greats, to, Ansel Adams back in the 40s, the 50s, nowadays Peter Lick, probably the best landscape photographer in the world currently. Other guys smaller that, I really hooked onto, like Ian Plant. Like these guys, their photography is just absolutely fantastic. And so I was comparing my stuff to their work.
That's great. That's a great way to do it, I think. Model yourself after who you really respect. But you were just doing that automatically, not with any kind of thought like, I'm going to be a photographer someday, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really did develop from the work trips and, going to national parks and family vacations. And once I realized that, this is what I want to do. I wanted to wake up at 4 a.m. when I'm, on a family vacation in Hawaii and go drive up the, Haleakala and take photos on top of the volcano. Like that's what I wanted to do on the vacation, not sit by the beach and, get a tan or anything like that.
So Ted, how long have you been doing it on a professional basis?
About a year and a half.
Just a year and a half?
A year and a half, yeah.
I'm looking at your body of work here, and it looks like a lifetime worth of work.
Well,
it really does.
Yeah, I mean, I have some photos from, a couple years ago that I was able to take. But, I focused really in the first year on going out and getting the photos that I wanted, that I needed. And one of the things I did was when I quit my job in New York, I spent 6 weeks out west touring a lot of the national parks, the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Rocky Mountain. I tried to hit all of them. I ended up putting about 7,000 miles on this poor little Toyota rental car that I had from.
It was a rental car.
Yeah, it was a rental car, and but it was worth it. I got some great shots from that trip.
Yeah. Well, we're looking at some of the shots on the internet while we're speaking, or we were, and a lot of them were these shots. This is what really caught my eye. The work that you did with the rock formations. Can you tell us a little bit about that, as to where the location is and how you found it? Or
Sure. So those are there are about 3 or 4 of them. They're all shot in Antelope Canyon, just outside Page, Arizona. They're on Navajo lands, so you have to get a permit to go and shoot in those locations. But basically, it's a slot canyon. Both of them, it's lower and upper Antelope Canyon, and both of them are about 30 feet high, and they're super narrow. At some points, a foot, 2 feet wide. You have to literally squeeze through the canyon, and when the light is at certain times of day, it's the upper elevations of the slot canyon get a lot of light, and the lower elevations get none. So even though it's 30 feet difference, you're really getting a lot cooler colors down by the base.
Right.
So a lot of these shots are looking up a wall or looking straight up, and you're getting the different elevations of the rock, which has your bright orange and yellows near the top, and you kind of flow down through your pinks, and then your purples, and then eventually you hit the blues when you take the shot.
Man, that's amazing, because to me it looks like you colorized it, because the color's so vivid and beautiful. So you mean to tell me you're standing in a place and you're actually seeing those colors?
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's amazing.
You definitely can see the colors. I mean, when you're standing there, a lot of it's reds. When you're looking at it, but you're looking at eye level. If you start, you look way up, it's golds and it's beautiful, and then you look into the corners and it's darker colors, and really the lens can pick up a lot more colors than your eye can see in these areas, and so that's a lot what you're seeing. You're seeing more of the fluorescent colors that come through the lens, and it really depends on how long you take the shot for. If it's a really long exposure or it's a shorter shot, 1-2 seconds versus a 10 or 12 or 15-second shot.
Now this series of photos here that we're going to talk about, the rock formations.
Sure.
Now, within your career here, did you know about this place or this location? Did you seek this out, or
Yeah, so one of the first shots that I ever really saw of the area was Peter Lick's ghost shot. I mean, it's I think at this point world famous. It's in the Smithsonian. He just sold a black and white version for $6.6 million. So he absolutely it is a one of a kind shot. And so you learn I saw that and I go, wow, where did he take this?
I see.
Am I able to get to that location? Some locations, it's the photographer keeps it hidden, or he doesn't really, or he or she doesn't really tell people. For this, it's Antelope Canyon. It just he is that skilled, and he probably has been there, 20, 30, 40 times to get the one shot, and it came through for him. So for me, yeah, that was how you see a shot and you go, wow, where did you get that?
So this shot here is what we're talking about, George. That one where it looks like a waterfall, but I don't see any water. Could you describe that shot? I mean, we're looking at this on the internet right now, and it's just beautiful.
Sure. So that one, I actually entitled that "Rise of the Dragon." So it's also called "Rising Dragon." It's basically what happens is during about 3 to 4 months of the year, there's light beams that can come through and hit the bottom of these slot canyons. It's usually from about 11 to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. When that happens, you have Navajo guides there who will either throw sand or scuff up the sand on the bottom. For this specific shot, I loved it because what happened is we had actually just had a tour walk by us. And so they had scuffed up a lot of the sand. And because of the different temperature between the air and the ground, the sand actually started to rise instead of fall. So what you're seeing is a much longer exposure than normal of sand actually sort of rising towards the light. And so that, I mean, for me, I saw that and I instantly knew that was going to be a shot that I wanted to release.
Wow. So you said you do this during a tour, or do you have to have a special permit to go in there by yourself, or how does that work?
So in the two canyons, Upper Antelope Canyon and Lower Antelope Canyon, they have certain tours that go through both of them. This one is shot in Upper. This is where the light beams are. This is a very popular tour. You do have to go in with Navajo guides. If you pay extra and you have photography equipment, which is normally just a tripod and a good DSLR camera, you can go on the photographer's tour. They usually offer 3 or 4 or 5 people per tour, and they will spend longer in there, and they will give you kind of priority when you want to get a shot. They'll sort of move people out of the way. They'll show you where the shots are, what you're looking for. And so, yeah, you do, for the Upper, you do have to go in with a tour. For Lower, it's a little different. You can get a photographer's pass, and that kind of gives you an hour and a half of free reign. And that's a one-way canyon. So that actually, you go on one end, you walk through it, and you come out the other side, hand off your photographer's tour, and you're done.
So you said that your parents gave you a camera. What kind of camera was it?
They gave me a Canon T3i.
And what kind of equipment are you using these days?
I now use a Nikon D800E. I shoot a lot on either the 14 to 24 lens or the 24 to 70. Those are kind of my go-tos. I always bring them. Those are always in my bag when I'm going out.
So looking at your work here on Facebook at Ted Davis Fine Art Photography, I see it's all landscapes, but it looks like you've been all over the world here. I see some tropical stuff, some stuff that looks like how about some stuff? There's some of these glacier photos here.
Sure.
Can we talk about some of those? Where were they from?
Yeah, so I spent 16 days in Iceland this past end of February and early March. I went in the winter because I wanted to see the Aurora Borealis. That was the purpose of my going. Once I decided I really wanted to see the Aurora, I started looking into what else I could do there, and I stumbled upon the information sites that basically said, if you're going to Iceland, you got to go to these ice caves.
Right.
And so I booked a tour and was able to go in with about 4 or 5 guys. 2 guys from the U.S. and a few guys, I believe, from Switzerland. And, I mean, just a fun group. And I went in. I was the only photographer. So we went in and, it's basically just a walkthrough kind of tour. but I kept on stopping and taking photographs, and so I was kind of running us behind. And my tour guide actually came over and he said, "You know what? We can bring you in tomorrow alone or with a small group. But these other guys, like, they're kind of done. But we did say that you could go for this extended period of time, and so basically he told me, you know, you can come in and get an almost private tour if you want to leave now tomorrow." And I said, "Hey, I will free up tomorrow. We'll come back." So that's what we ended up doing, and yeah, just capturing some fabulous shots of inside the ice caves.
Yeah, I mean, you got like every color blue that you could possibly imagine in some of these shots here, and it looks, I don't know, it looks as though there's like, I don't know, in the bottom of this one picture here. Yeah, we don't. Now we have the other picture, I believe you have. Yeah.
So that one's my bestseller. That's entitled Elucidation. Yeah. That one, I mean, the ice cave at that point is about 300 feet tall, just massive. It's hard to capture that in scale. It's underneath the glacier in Vatnajökull, and what you're seeing is you're actually seeing sort of an ice bridge in the middle. Below that is sort of a ice glacial stream.
That's
and
what it looks
the stream is actually running out away from you.
So there's a forest in the background on the bottom there, right? Is that what we're looking at here?
You're actually that bottom in the background, you're actually looking at the wall of sediment that's kind of built up inside the ice cave. So the ice cave actually curls around to the right. And the reason you can see all these blues, like the dark blue is closest to you and then the light blues are below and above, is because there's actually a hole in the ice cave right behind that ice bridge that you're looking at. And so that gives it a little depth that you don't really get to see in a lot of different ice caves. It was stunning being in there.
So you see, you know what I don't get though, you had a perfectly good job, New York City, lawyer, you know, you get to get up and take that train or whatever and bustle around and go up into your office and litigate, and you traded it for this, you know.
Yeah, well,
how was that?
I mean, it's a little bit warmer in the office than, you know, when you're standing in the ice caves. But I made a decision. I was just, 27 at the time, and I decided, I have a great career. As you said, I could I could do this for the rest of my life, and I would be happy. Or I could take a chance and see if I can make it as a photographer. And, my goal is to experience a lot of different things that I wouldn't get to do staying in New York, sort of see the world and, try to make it my profession and see how it worked out. And I gave myself a few years, and if it doesn't work out after a few years, I was going to say, okay, time to step back. So far, I'm about a year and a half in since I quit my job, and things are going really well.
That's interesting. So tell me about a typical day then. Most people, we get up, we go to work, we work until 5 o'clock or whatever, then we get paid on Friday. What does Ted Davis do how does he go through a day?
Well, it kind of depends whether or not I'm going to shoot or if I'm just, doing the work thing. If I'm doing the work thing, that's, filling orders, that's getting ready for the next art fair or planning trips or building this or editing shots. That's normal. That wouldn't be any different than someone just working from home. It's when I'm on a shoot that it really gets crazy. And that could be, waking up at 4 a.m., rolling out of a tent in Yosemite in the winter and going for sunrise, El Capitan, and then spending all day hiking through to go to a sunset of, the cathedral. So it really depends. But, I mean, it's long, long days.
Yeah.
You're outside, and it's phenomenal. You reconnect with nature. You're experiencing things that people see in movies and wish they could do and can't. And so, I get to do that. I'm, very lucky.
That's great. You hear that, everybody out there? I mean, that's some inspirational stuff right there. So you followed your dreams, and it takes you to basically Wonderland, and then you get to take the picture of that and then sell it to people. And we all get to look at it and go, damn, where is that? I want to be there.
Yes.
I'm looking at this one shot here, a forest. And
sure.
The reason I'm bringing this one up here is I was looking at the way that the water looks like it's not quite real. And I'm sure that has something to do with your exposure. But you had this on printed on a piece of aluminum or something like that. It's a whole other thing about photography. Is not just taking these pictures, but also in the mounting and presentation of them. Tell me a little bit about that process. Or is that something you're really interested in doing?
Yeah, so that one's called Wailoa Cascades, and that was shot on the Big Island of Hawaii. And so what you saw my medium size, and you saw it printed on white aluminum. And basically what white aluminum does, or what you can do with other media you print on, is it brings out different characteristics of the shot. The white aluminum, what it does is it prints the color onto the aluminum. They have a special process in my lab, like they call it imbuing. Basically, they imbue the color and they leave the white aluminum, if it's white, plain. They don't do anything to it. And so what you saw kind of the glow and the luminescence of the white aluminum coming through when compared with the dark volcanic rock that's next to it for this specific shot.
Yeah.
You can also shoot on photographic paper. Metallic paper gives a very similar feel. Or you could do like a luster, which is a semi-gloss. You could do a gloss paper, a watercolor paper, which is one of the ones I offer. So it really depends on the shot and the feeling you want to give. One of the really cool things is watercolor paper makes images look more like a painting. So if you already have a really soft image, light colors, kind of a wispy feel to a shot, and you print it onto watercolor paper, it's going to look a lot more like a painting than if you were to print it on aluminum or metallic paper.
All right, and you learned this stuff as you went along, I guess, huh?
Yeah, trial and error, which unfortunately did cost some money,
Sure,
but you learn, and I'm still perfecting it. I learned aluminum. I only started really producing about 7 months ago, and it's now my bestseller. I love it on aluminum, and I tell people, it's fantastic on aluminum. It's a little more expensive than your basic print,
right?
But
it has a certain depth to it.
Yeah, and it's ready to hang. So if you see it and you love it, you take it home, put it right on the wall.
So what's the furthest that you've traveled to get a shot? And tell us about the story of that. Why did you go there, and which shot is it? Maybe I could pull it up here.
So Iceland was just unbelievable. Iceland, I have 13 or 14 shots from Iceland that I've released. That was pretty far travel. I've also been to Hawaii. Hanalei Sunrise is one of my favorites. That is just the three mountains with the pier. It's beautiful. Those were, you have to travel, but they're not really that hard to get to or dangerous or anything like that. The hardest is actually the one called Grand Lightning. It was on the south rim of the Grand Canyon, and it's not hard to get to. You can get to the Grand Canyon, but what happened was I was there with a friend, and he and I had been hiking all day, and it was beautiful weather. And next thing we know, just a monsoon just tears through. And within 30 minutes, we are drenched. Lightning starts coming down, just really bad conditions. And so I, of course, go and set up a shot. And he grabs my gear, and he's throwing our one rain jacket that we have over all my gear, and he's trying to stay dry, I'm trying to stay dry, and I'm trying to shoot shots. And I don't have a lightning remote that senses when lightning goes off. Right. So I'm just sitting there taking shot after shot after shot. End up taking something like 400 different shots, all to get this just one image of the lightning striking in the Grand Canyon.
Which one's that? Do we have that picture here on your Facebook?
You do. It's
right. This one right there. Do you have that one, George?
That's really awesome. It's right at sunset, which is, perfect timing. The lightning was actually flashed just in front of the setting sun, so that's where you kind of see the top of the bolt. Then you see, the bright light of the sunset, and then you see the bottom of the bolt. It was stunning, and that's the only one we have with lightning that he and I captured. But, they say you gotta.
Sure. I see that you've taken a lot of shots here of the stars as well.
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, that's I did mention that's why I went to to Iceland was to shoot the Aurora Borealis.
Right,
so I was
right,
out
right.
there, and I did get star shots and this and that, and I ended up with 3 Aurora shots I absolutely loved. But I've been fascinated with the night sky and stars and
Oh, yeah.
everything. I think like every other boy in history, I love looking up into the night sky, and so. Yeah, it's always been a dream of mine to like capture the Milky Way, and get a camera that's good enough for that, or shooting stars or anything like that. And so I was able to do a few shots of the Aurora and then a few shots of the Milky Way. One of them actually is out in Hawaii. I wanted one on the Big Island on top of it, the volcano, but that didn't work out, the weather.
Yeah, well.
But it's still just a beautiful area that. It's easy to capture shots out there.
We're looking at this one shot of the Aurora here, green and vivid. What you call it? Beauty of Eos.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that shot.
So that is actually south of the city of Reykjavik, and that was about 2.5 days after this massive solar flare we had gotten in the end of February. And it was just fortuitous that I ended up being in Iceland. I left the day after the solar flare happened, just on the flight that I'd booked, months ahead of time. Got there, waited a day. That night I was out. The next night was when I took the shot. And I mean, I was out all night. The Aurora never stopped. It just kept on going, moving, shifting in the skies. And that was actually, that is a single shot of a part. The Aurora was going straight over my head. So I actually sat there with the camera and took shots just going up, looking straight up and then looking straight behind me. And that didn't turn out so great. But this one, the first shot of the series, just I looked at it and I go, okay, that's one of the shots that we need to release.
Well, it's beautiful, Ted, and I'm glad that I ran into you at the Las Olas Art Fair. And if you got any shows coming up around town, you want to let us know if anybody wants to go see your stuff live?
Yeah, so I'm actually in Miami this weekend, Bayou Art Festival. I believe it's at the University of Miami at Coral Gables. So it's in that area right by the hospitals.
Okay.
It's going to be a great fair. I think they have over 220 artists and lots of vendors, and has a stage, so there's going to be live music. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I wish you the best success, and thanks for coming on the show and inspiring people out there. A lot of people that I know that listen to my show, they're working away, and they all, we all have other plans here. We're artists in this, but here you are. You've done that, and your work is really good. I can tell the passion in your work, and I'm very glad to meet you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you so much.
All right. If anybody wants to go and check out Ted Davis's art, you can go to Ted Davis Fine Art Photography, right?
Yep. Or I have a website. It's teddavisfap.com. And I'm actually launching a Kickstarter in about 2.5 weeks. So if you go there and you look up top, there'll be a little button for Kickstarter. You can check it out. And that's Italy. So
big
look
Italy
forward to
tour.
that. Yep.
A lot of nice shots to take in Italy. Yep. Go to Lake Como. You just anywhere you put a. You're gonna.
I
get some
have a
great
big
shots.
target on Venice as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Ted. Appreciate you coming on the show. That
Thanks,
was
Ray.
Ted Davis from Ted Davis Fine Art Photography, and we're going to take a little break and bring up Troy Bernier and Eric Swain from the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival. Yeah. Okay, take a little break here on SoFloRadio.com.
Shock Pop Comic-Con, South Florida's biggest Comic-Con and pop culture experience, comes to the Broward County Convention Center in Fort Lauderdale, February 13th through the 15th, featuring the largest guest lineup ever in South Florida, including Robert Englund, John Waters, Bam Margera, RJ Mitty, Danny Trejo, Elvira, Ralph Macchio, Sylvester McCoy, and more. Reunions from A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Friday the 13th, Demons, The Karate Kid, The Hobbit, X-Men Days of Future Past, Angel, Miami Vice, The Brady Bunch, Sons of Anarchy, and tons more. See the biggest lineup of comic artists and writers ever in South Florida. Tons of animation guests, pro wrestlers, a massive vendor floor including artists, crafters, exhibitors, movie and television studios, over 4,000 square feet of video games and tabletop gaming, original art exhibits, tons of screening, Ink Fusion Tattoo Festival, live music performances, and a cosplay contest with the largest payout ever in South Florida. Join the cast of the powwow, Luis the Artiste, Joe Daddy, and cosplay Scream Queen Chainsaw Sammy, broadcasting live every day from 1 to 3 p.m. Listen live on SoFloRadio.com. Brought to you by ShockPopComicCon.com.
Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now, 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor. Return the favor with their debut release, Picture This. Featuring You Have My Attention. Go to facebook.com/Return the Favor. Picture This. Return the Favor. Available on iTunes.
At SoFloRadio.com.
We do big things.
right, so quick transition here back into SoFloRadio.com, Rick Show on the radio, and I have a couple of friends of mine from the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival. We have Troy Bernier. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Speak right into the microphone there, Troy.
Good afternoon. How are
and
you
Eric,
doing?
Eric Swain, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Rick?
How you guys doing? There's a camera right there if you want to wave to your moms.
Hey,
Hi, Mom. How you doing?
Salute.
All right. All right. Welcome, man. I'm glad to get you on the show finally, man. We've been friends for a while. I've seen a couple of the films that you guys have done and followed your work, and just very happy to have you on the show here. I know that you got a big film festival coming up here, right?
Oh, yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah, and
we
there's
really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks so much for having us on the show.
Absolutely. So tell us, Troy, about a little bit about the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival. Eric or Troy, either one.
How it got started?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I have to give credit to Troy for, being his brainchild mostly. He said quite some time back, we've been making, independent films for quite a bit of time. Mm-hmm. And Troy had said, we'd been to some film festivals, that we should try making our own with a specialty in what we're interested in. Science fiction, fantasy, even horror and supernatural. And so that really led to us forming this. And this is our second year coming up. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're coming from.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's true. It's been a heck of an experience. Mm-hmm. This I call it our second season. I like to use season because we're in January, and when you're promoting the festival, say, oh yeah, this year's festival, this next year's festival, it should be just that. It should be the seasons. But to go into perhaps a bit more detail, quite a ways ago, actually, it's been quite a while ago. where
since we first thought.
You know, we were thinking about this back in the days of longevity.
Oh.
Yeah, just to make that clear, that's 10 years, more than 10 years ago.
More than 10 years.
Longevity was a film we did, feature film that showed at Brooklyn Underground Film Festival.
Awesome guys.
Great guys. Josh Curry, Miles Kane.
Miles Kane.
That put on that festival. That's where we first met them. It won the Audience Favorite Award at that festival. And we were talking about it even then. Again, it was Troy's idea first. And the whole idea of putting on our own festival featuring other people's films.
Yeah. And of course, we call it sci-fi, science fiction. But to be more broad, we know that there's so many other types of fantastic films that fill the fantastic genre.
Sure.
Science fiction is just a subgenre in that whole bunch.
You guys get a lot of anime.
We don't get a whole lot of anime. We get more fantasy.
We get animation.
We do get animation. We get animation, but not a lot of animation.
Okay.
Not as much as you would think. But the big push is a lot of fantasy films. We get a lot of fantasy. I like to use the term, instead of sci-fi, lo-fi.
Okay.
Which is very popular now, and it's no way watering it down.
No.
But it's just a different take on science fiction genre, where it's a lot of alternative reality. So they take something that is theoretical and they just add lots of story and background to it. There are a lot of films like this. This is what's on popular on television now because their budgets tend to be a little lower. They don't have to have as much CGI.
Like Gotham, something like that, right?
That's fantasy. That's fantasy. That's lo-fi, but that's fantasy.
Okay.
That's more fantasy than anything else.
It's like Sleepy Hollow fantasy.
Oh, right.
For TV.
Yeah.
Not like a big budget film, but
So let's go back to the beginning a little bit and talk about you guys and how you guys met.
Oh my goodness. You're going to go there, right?
Yes, I'm going to go way
quite a
back
ways
there.
back.
And I understand. I know it was in a holding cell one time, right? You guys met in jail? No.
Right.
Close as a federal system. It was a federal system.
Right, it was a federal system. We were both. I worked for the U.S. Geological Survey.
Right.
I used to.
And Troy was working there at the time when we first met.
Yeah.
And
from North Carolina, Chapel Hill, via Carolina, Chapel Hill.
He had come in. He had started in North Carolina. He had moved down here to South Florida. And that's where we first met. I was working on a low-budget film at the time as a hobby.
Lord of Ashes.
That was, Lord of Ashes. That was done on video. I mean, that was before the digital age. I had editing done in Miami Beach, a fellow reel-to-reel editing.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
Yes. And met Troy. He helped out a bit on that and wanted to join in with further work.
So you've been interested in film making for quite a while. Besides you guys are both scientists, right? Is that?
Yeah. I'm a water scientist.
Mm-hmm.
He's a civil engineer.
By training. Which includes water.
Which is so intense on the math that he's one of the most powerful minds in the galaxy. When it comes to groundwater modeling, surface water interaction. The world looks at Eric.
I've done quite a bit of it. I don't know whether the world's looking at it or not, but I've done quite a bit of it over the years.
Well, I could bring up what your views on fracking are, but I think that would be a different show now, wouldn't it?
Yes, and we're not supposed to be regulatory or make suggestions.
Oh, okay. But how come I hear a but here?
No, that's
going to stop right there. Okay.
No, I mean, yes. We were supposed to just investigate, not make judgment.
Yeah, USGS DOI, Department of Interior, is a reporting, scientific, investigative
and an advisory,
advisory
doing scientific
role.
investigation.
It's not like EPA. EPA is regulatory. When Nixon created that was a response to disasters.
Okay,
environmental disasters.
Okay, right.
Whereas USGS was more, or DOI, Department of the Interior, was more about the way you would frame it is, not annexing, but
Earth, investigating Earth science,
understanding more about the nation's resource, the natural resource.
Oh, that makes sense.
It was understanding about quantifying the Earth's, the country's natural resources, because it was the DOI. This was formed in late
1849.
Wow. 1849. Yeah, it was a while back.
Oh,
It's a while
yeah.
back. And very good history.
You guys
very
were just looking for gold, weren't you? Come on.
I think so.
Well, that's minerals
But
management.
we do have better
you know.
computer models now than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Better computer
So,
models. than that, yeah.
what's your area of expertise in the scientist, Troy?
Well, I'm a geologist.
Okay.
Licensed geologist by that in the state of Florida. But my specialty is water resources. I am trained more into baseline water quality, what the water was like before humanity decided to change it a bit. My focus at Florida Atlantic University, with my doctorate there, I'm looking at something called isotope hydrology. So I'm looking at evapotranspiration, but I'm looking at the isotopes within evapotranspiration.
I love that evapotranspiration. What did you say?
And it's very important, one of the biggest parameters in our models, so it couples
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Between precipitation, evapotranspiration, those are the two big quantities we have to count for.
Yeah,
so.
it can be somewhere around, and I'll give you a nation scale. So between 40 to say up as much as 80% of the amount of water that you have in a water budget can come from evapotranspiration.
Okay.
So it's a big deal.
All right. Well, it sounds like your chosen fields of work there are prepared you perfectly for the geekdom that science fiction and all that is all about.
We've worked at it. We're trying hard.
Oh yeah, it keeps it exciting.
Yeah. So do all you guys wear Star Trek uniforms underneath your lab coats?
Haven't gotten around to doing that. I have a Romulan.
He has a Romulan. So he's a Trekkie now because he has a Romulan.
I didn't have
outfit.
one, but Troy told me, he said, we got to dress up in a Star Trek theme, and I says, I much prefer being the bad guy.
Okay.
It's a perspective.
Right. Yes, and so that's what I got.
Awesome. You guys got any films coming out here? Any new? Tell us about some new projects and films that you got working on, right?
We're still working on the Temple of Joy project.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Temple of Joy, and the only reason why that film has been delayed is because we had a considerable challenge trying to raise money for the location. Location fees were astronomical.
Yeah, that was
$5,000 for a weekend.
Where do you want to go?
We're looking for architecture that suits
and looks high tech.
Sure, looks
looking
high-tech.
architecture.
Right.
So there's certain kinds of space that you need,
right,
with the proper lighting and so forth. Things that we were looking for, certain type of aesthetics.
Right.
And just the conversations that we were having with people was just mind-boggling.
It's a lot cheaper to do things on green screen.
Yeah. So I've seen some of the work that you've done on the green screen. That was Planet X, right? There was
heavy,
we did.
heavy.
90%.
90%
of that was on green screen.
Yeah.
And but we're still using it. I guess I should mention we have a few short intros that we have prepared for the film festival of certain sessions that we act in.
Oh, yeah?
That we are part of.
Are you talking about trailers or things?
Yes, it's like a trailer. It's got for beginning the session in the film festival.
Okay.
And it features some of them. They're actually all on the YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. We downloaded a few of these things, and let's get into looking at some of them. I'm pretty sure there's some trailers that we had downloaded there, and but if this is something different, you need.
This is different. This is different. What Eric is referring to is the promotional pieces. We have promo pieces that are like Ganunga Gap Filmworks made.
Right.
Promotional pieces that have certain themes around them. So one of the themes was sort of like a theme called The Landing Party, a bunch of people dressed up in Star Trek, and then all of a sudden the Venus Death Grip. It was one called The Landing Party, which is...
this promo that you want us to see, what's
which
the
one
title?
should we start with?
Well, the promo, how about the introduction, Mars Needs Women?
Okay, as soon as he finds that, it should be...
No.
No.
Yeah.
All right, we didn't download that.
So those are different. Okay,
okay.
Those are promotional. Those are promotional films that hype up the festival.
Right.
And they have themes that correspond to the themes that are the sessions of the film. Like there's one called Mars Needs Women. It's very heavy sci-fi, very dark sci-fi, lots of action adventure. We have another theme called Planet Prithvi. Planet Prithvi.
That's alternate reality.
Alternate reality.
Did a little steampunk.
I was trying to pronounce that. I thought
it's the Hindi word for Earth, planet Earth.
Okay.
But yeah, so as films that have an alternate reality theme are in that session, and
I saw the steampunk thing that you did there as well. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Those are some of the costumes. So we did a short one for that. People want to see that, they can come to the festival.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We will definitely screen those because they're like introductions to the opening for the film.
Right. Now tell us, when is this festival? Which the month of...
It's this month.
This month?
On the 23rd, which is
23rd.
next week.
Next
weekend
week?
weekend after this next one.
Awesome.
And that will be the 23rd, was a Friday. Opening film is Inverse. The opening film is Inverse, which is a very nice alternative reality parallel universe.
Where is that?
Feature film.
Where is that from? Is that a U.S. film?
Yes, U.S. film.
Can
Definitely.
we watch the
we
trailer
have a
for
lot
that?
of films. Yeah, we have that.
All right. Well, let's do that. We're going to watch the trailer for Inverse right now.
It's the opening film.
Okay, first, and hear me on this. Trust nobody.
Who are you?
I don't know why I'm here.
Definitely not me.
Do you recognize the name?
You're dying. You scrambled your brains to mush. Thinned yourself out because you've been coming here so many times.
Max, you're alive.
Don't trust her.
We have rules we have to follow. No contact. Remain invisible. They're not you.
You're ignoring the risks you're putting us in.
He's helping me.
He's dangerous.
I'm not lying. You were supposed to pull a favor for me back home. You didn't do it.
Their governments know about us. They hunt us down. They find you. They do unimaginable shit.
Who's she?
Why won't you tell me how I died?
You need to trust everything I do.
You can make it happen. Get me home.
You're not understanding the full magnitude of our situation.
You always have to come back.
All right. So your festival coming up this weekend here.
No, not this
next
weekend.
Sorry.
Weekend after this one, yeah.
Yeah. Is 2 days?
Yeah, well, it's three.
Three
Technically,
days?
it's 3 days.
Mhm.
Opening film is Inverse. Starts at 11 o'clock morning, matinee.
Mhm.
It runs all day Friday, all the way to Mars Needs Women.
Mhm.
And that's where we're going to have the screen writers competition in that section there.
Oh, tell us a little bit about that then.
That was our first time doing that.
Yeah?
Yes, we asked for screenplays. How many did we receive?
I don't remember what. We
Yeah.
received way more than what. It was.
Sure.
It was a challenge.
Right.
It was a challenge. Just
Yeah.
like the number of films. This season has been a big challenge.
Yeah. How many submissions did you guys get?
It's
for this year?
insane. It's insane. It's so much that
Is it
next
a
year?
zillion?
No, if it was zillion, we'd
A
still
Google?
be counting. If it was a Googleplex, we'd still be counting.
Oh,
but
okay, you're right.
I know that if next year, if it's any more than that, we're gonna have to expand quite a few things.
Who has to watch all these films?
We
by the
all
way?
watch them.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
man.
3 of us. We should
Okay.
mention our third founding member,
Yep.
Yes.
Edward Figueroa.
Hey,
who
Ed.
couldn't be with us today.
Hey, Ed.
That's too bad.
Ed. Ed had class today. He's over at Miami-Dade.
Yes.
Film
Is he
school
a
there.
scientist geek like you guys?
Yeah.
He's in my office. He's in my
Yes.
office as well.
Awesome.
Eric owns the office.
Oh, cool. All right.
He does, really, seriously.
So how many films are we going to be screening for the actual film festival?
About 53.
Right.
Wow.
That's not counting the microdocs, by the way.
Yeah, it doesn't count the microdoc.
We have, on Saturday morning, we have local school children are going to be able to see some informative...
Everyone.
Let's see, where am I?
Everyone's
Some
allowed
informative
for free. Everyone's
Microdocs. What we have 6 short documentaries.
Okay.
Describing, climate change,
got it.
manatees,
Right. Okay.
use of drones.
All right. So I know you got like a couple more videos that I want to get to here. You're talking about this film Chrysalis. Now, where's that coming from?
Where did that? It's a horror themed
Isn't
film.
it Michigan?
Right.
Detroit area?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere up north.
Yeah.
All right.
It's another American film. It's a post-apocalyptic zombie type of film. If you're into Walking Dead 28 Days Later, you're going to like this film.
All right. Let's watch a little bit of that Chrysalis, all right?
I had the dream again last night. It was different this time, though. I stood there, looking at a cocoon. The cocoon shook and cracked. It ripped open, and it was rotting inside.
Well, I'm watching this here, and I'm looking at some pretty good special effects. So you guys got some really good submissions this year, huh? Very
It's
professional.
unbelievable. It blew my mind. I would call Eric saying, man, make sure you don't, look at this.
Considering the budgets that they have for some of these films, these are
exceptional.
Much lower budgets. We're talking thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands.
Right,
of millions. They've done extremely well with their budget and their resources for many of these films. It's amazing what they can do nowadays.
It's interesting the technology as it filters down, it becomes more available to the lower levels of filmmaking.
Yes.
That made has made a huge difference in the last 5 to 10 years. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Just that
what you could do with home software.
Yes, and one of the advantages that we have is part of the submission, they tell you what their budgets are.
Oh, good.
So we collect a considerable amount of information, which helps. It helps us understand if someone is really interested in watching these films. They get to learn a lot about this.
All right.
In addition, a lot of the filmmakers, we have over 20 filmmakers who are coming. So of these 50 plus films, 20 of the filmmakers are coming.
Great. I'm gonna be there for sure. Let's watch a couple of more before we get to the end of the show here, because I want to get as many in. And,
Helio.
Let's talk about this film called Helio. What do you know about that film? Who sent that to you?
Fellow Teddy Cecil.
Cecil,
who's actually going to be there and going to have his own table, vendor table.
Yeah,
so people will be able to meet him.
All right, let's watch a little bit of that.
It's a very nice short film. Has a mining element to it.
See, that's why you guys like it, huh? Geological guys. Wow,
very nice effects.
Really nice.
Very nice effects. They did an awesome job with this film. It's very original. That's one of the nice things about Misi Fee is we get this opportunity to offer amazing, fantastic, original content that would rarely make it to anything. And if it ends up on YouTube, you're competing against millions of other films.
Wow.
So the opportunities are slim to none.
That looked very professional there. That was, you can see the difference between like green screen work and what these guys are doing. What's the new technology why does it look so much better now?
Part of overall looking better, of course, is the camera equipment, the high definition cameras being used. And I personally love them so much better. We're talking about green screen, you can do it so much better with high definition images, the software, but the special effects software, the plugins are a lot more varied now than they used to be.
In addition, they're using real sets.
Yes.
There are more real sets. So CGI, there's actually a movement to push CGI back and use more real sets, to go back to the ways of the original Star Wars, the original Star Treks. So there's a combination of real effects, real sets with CGI that will dress it up very
I was
nicely.
watching something on the internet about Battlestar Galactica. and how they did a lot of that stuff with like real sets.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
But then, just little, the background is a green screen and it just flows. It just
Right,
Yeah.
just for
blends in
very
perfectly.
distant backgrounds, but all
Right.
the near stuff.
Yes. So the last thing I would say is let's look at Extreme Pinocchio. We'll talk about them,
Okay.
and we'll talk also about Star Trek and
Sure.
the festival itself.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Let's watch a little bit of Extreme Pinocchio.
This film comes from France. We have over
Subtitles.
12. Yeah, we have over 12 countries represented in the festival. We actually have our first Indian film in the festival. Indian sci-fi.
From
Yeah.
India.
Huh.
Vimana. It's awesome.
Isn't that space thing they call it? I've heard that word before.
I'm not sure of the meaning exactly.
It actually has a different meaning. It's something like destruction or something like that.
Oh, okay. I think it was something I was watching on Ancient Aliens.
Yes. Extreme Pinocchio, though, is a very dark comedy on Pinocchio, where a guy, he's a very short person. He's about 3 feet tall,
right?
And he's I guess a drug fiend, and he can't pay his debt. So his drug dealers convince him to wear a Pinocchio outfit and go after some other guy that owes the money.
It's a fetish thing.
Who
yes.
thinks he's
Okay.
Gestapo, and.
Wow, that's interesting.
But it's shot so well. It looks like Les Miserables, Moulin Rouge.
I saw some of that.
The quality is at such a high par,
Yeah.
and it's hilarious. It is extremely funny. You will cry laughing.
Oh, that's
we said we have to vote for this. It's hilarious. It's one not to miss.
Oh, that's
It's an exceptional film.
That's Extreme Pinocchio. We're going to see that one for sure.
Yes. And the last thing we'll say about our film is that we're going to be fortunate enough to have a Star Trek fan film called Mind Sifter.
Oh, can we watch a little bit of that on the way out?
We don't have the trailer there.
Oh, we don't have the trailer for that. Never
He
mind.
didn't download the
Okay.
trailer. But Mind Sifter is a old story. It's one of the older Star Trek stories that Mr. James Cawley from out of upstate New York, Retro Films, they've been making Star Trek films for over 10 years. And they're so good at it now. The films are, I would say, they look better than the original Star Trek. They're that
But
good.
it's
at it.
amazing how they reproduce the sets.
Yeah.
And everything looks so
It's-
much
you
like
show me
the
some
original
pictures
Star
of
Trek.
that.
Yes. It's. I've been there. I went.
Yeah,
I see
actually,
this.
he had a part in Mind Sifter.
I
Troy-
actually have,
Troy
I
had
actually have a part in
it.
the film.
Are we going to be able to see that in the film when it comes up?
Yes, you'll see it when the movie comes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
and James Cawley is coming.
awesome.
He's coming.
All right, and I know you have a workshop or something like that with one of these guys, the Avatar guy, right?
Yes, yes.
We
Todd
have a couple
Chernowski.
people in-
Todd
yeah.
Chernowski. He was one of the people behind Avatar, Jurassic World, the new Terminator Genesis.
Wow.
You name it. The list goes on and on. Tomorrow, where all of these films that this guy has been involved in. He's the one that builds the worlds. He builds the props that really work. Zero Dark 30. He built the helicopter.
Oh, so he's the model maker?
He's
as
the
you're
set
saying?
designer.
Yes.
Oh, set
He designs
designer.
the set. So if you
That'd
want a
be
Millennium
interesting.
Falcon there, he'll build a Millennium.
That's
he
cool.
puts it all together for you.
I want to see
So
that.
he's coming. He's going to explain how he builds those worlds.
And when is he going to be there? What date?
Saturday evening.
night. Saturday
at
evening he gives
about
a
8
talk.
p.m.
All right, so that's the
electronics.
Miami Science Fiction
Yes,
Film
Miami
Festival.
International Science Fiction
Yep.
Film Festival, January 23rd through 25th at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, downtown Miami, just
MCFee.com.
north of the river.
Yes,
on Brickell.
MISCI.com.
Hyatt Regency.
All right, don't miss this one. This is the second season of your film festival here, and I'm sorry to say that I was elsewhere and I missed the first one, but I'm definitely going to be here for this one. Really looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Troy Bernier.
Thank you.
All right, Eric Swain.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll be down. We'll be all be down at the Miami International Science Fiction Film Festival next week. All right, guys, that was my show today, and thanks for being here. This is Rick signing off on Rick's Show on the Radio on SoFloRadio.com.
Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.